All right, so first, I think what we'll do is we'll talk hardware, we'll talk about the Stylo 5, and then we'll get into kind of the rest of the stuff. All right, so what I want to do first with the LG Stylo 5. Gregory, glad you could be here. The LG Stylo 5, I want to kind of take this back several generations. The LG Stylo 4, the LG Stylo 3, the Stylo 2, the original Stylo. We're talking about a legendary device. Not legendary as in like the Samsung Galaxy Note. Not legendary like the Google Pixel with the cameras. Nothing like that. But when it comes to prepaid and affordability and a bargain device that gives you a really nice user experience at a price point that doesn't hurt most people's pockets. The LG Stylo phones have always been kind of what people on prepaid and people that don't want to spend six, seven, 800, 900, $1,000 on a phone, they could always count on the Stylo to offer a really, really nice package in a device. You're getting a Stylo supported device, right? So you get that added functionality of having a Stylo built into the phone, built into the user experience. You were getting a decent processor so that the phone wasn't dragging around. You were getting, decent specs, decent camera performance. Nothing, earth shattering, but overall a good value for what you were paying. Always coming in around that $200 mark. If you were getting in on like a port in or a phone swap through a prepaid carrier, you might have gotten the phone for $99 or even less sometimes, depending on the promo. You were getting a nice device. And now we're looking at the Stylo 5 and it's just been released. It's out now officially. It's no longer this prediction game, and it's no longer these leaks and renders. We actually can go into a store, you can go online and you can purchase a Stylo 5. So it's launched, it's been for sale. It's there, you can buy it. So it's in store, it's online, they'll ship it to you, you can go in there and get it. Fine. Cricket has it for sale. Boost has it for sale. No word yet on Metro by Tmobile. So that being the case, you're kind of only able to get it on two of the several prepaid carriers. You're getting a 6.2-inch display. You're getting a 1080p resolution screen. It's an 18:9 ratio. It's an LCD panel. That's fine. We expected it. We knew that was coming. 13 megapixel main shooter for the back. You're getting a 5 megapixel front shooter selfie camera, but I believe it is wide angle, which is kind of nice. 32 gigs of storage. You're getting 3 gigs of RAM, which is good. It's an upgrade from the 2 gigs from some of the models from last year. You're getting up to 2 terabytes of expandable storage if you wanted to do that. You're getting the Qualcomm made Snapdragon 450, the same processor that was in the Stylo 4. 3,500 milliamp hour battery, USB Type-C for charging. That's a good standard. 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, Android 9.0, Android Pie, so you're getting the most up-to-date software. Of course, the Stylo 4 only has, I think it stopped at 8.1, not getting any support there. So the phone on Boost is $199 according to the website, as is. You can get 20% off. That's their current promotion. I believe the colors, platinum gray. If you buy through Cricket, you're paying $229, and it is available in the blonde rose color, which I think is basically just pink, and only available with Cricket. So what I want to do is kind of talk about the phone and kind of give you guys my displeasure, my disappointment, and then kind of the pulse of the people. So my vibes for the phone as of right now. I'm disappointed. The phone, as you're looking at a sequence of an upgrade from last year. So comparing the Stylo 4 to the Stylo 5. I'm very frustrated. I'm very disappointed in seeing that a phone from LG, which is considered to be a phone for the people, has really come up short. I feel like almost like we've been bamboozled in a way. We're expecting more of an upgraded model for the LG Stylo 5 compared to the Stylo 4. But I think a lot of you guys out there, the viewers, subscribers of the JGTechBlog, you've pretty much said it best. This is basically a Stylo 4 running Android 9.0, like the newest operating system, and that's really all they could say. So, a huge disappointment in terms of specs because it's basically the same phone as last year. Design, appearance, features, specifications, not enough was done to really truly call this an upgrade. And then to charge the cost to kind of be the same entry point as last year is kind of a head scratcher. I mean, if you were going to be coming out with the same phone, it should have been cheaper. And you wouldn't be upgrading people out of the 4, you'd just be upgrading others that maybe just wanted a stylo. So it's really it's been disappointing to say the least. Now the 3 gigs of RAM and stuff like that, like if you're coming out of a boost model LG Stylo 4, maybe what you're seeing this year is an upgrade for you, but it's really hard to justify, spending the money to upgrade to a phone that is just so similar compared to last year. So I think the pulse of the people, JGTechBlog, the JGnation, people all over YouTube, reviewers and users alike are frustrated kind of with what's going on there. Is it worth justifying spending, 200 and upwards, 229 if you're on Cricket, 200 if you're on Boost? Maybe it's a little bit less. Maybe you're saving $40 on the promo. Is it worth it to upgrade to a 5 from a 4? It's really hard to justify it. I don't know if that's really justifiable. So I'm frustrated. I know the people are, and we've heard the complaints. We've heard you guys loud and clear. So what could we expect moving forward from LG for the rest of the year? Well, are we going to see the LG Stylo 5 being sold at Metro by Tmobile? I think most of the time we do. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see from Metro by Tmobile. Is it going to be the same as what we're seeing from Boost? Is it going to be the same model that we're seeing from Cricket? That's the expectation. It's possible maybe we see some kind of a spec bump in some way, but I doubt it. I still think it's going to have 3 gigs of RAM, the same processor. I don't think any of that's going to change. Might it have a different color variant? Possibly. I don't know. But I don't really expect anything to deviate much just because it's going to be sold at Metro. So what about the LG Stylo 5 Plus? A lot of people know that the Plus variations always seem to be a nice option if you're looking for something a little bit more capable, a little bit more high-end, a little bit more spec-centered, maybe a better user experience because the hardware is a little bit nicer. It's a little bit more upgraded, a little bit more high-end. A lot of people are asking about the possibility of an LG Stylo 5 Plus. You guys can let me know if maybe that might be a better option for you compared to the 5. Now we're expecting obviously a slight price bump because you're getting slightly better specs, but we don't have confirmation that an LG Stylo 5 Plus even really exists. So we're going to hold out hope for an LG Stylo 5. We're going to see, or an LG Stylo 5 Plus, we're going to hold out hope for that. See if maybe we can get some better specs, maybe something a little bit more competitive to an upgrade. I don't know. How much more could they sell a Stylo 5 Plus for compared to the Stylo 5? Might it have a better processor? I think we could speculate on that. Might it have an added gig of RAM? Possibly. The display probably be the same. Battery size could be something that could be upgraded. These are all possibilities. Now, to be honest with you, what I expect to see out of a LG Stylo 5 Plus, I would expect dust and water resistance. The Stylo 4 Plus had an IP68 rating. I would expect the same, at least that much. I don't think you need to have anything more than an IP68 rating. That's pretty nice. Better cameras. I think especially the rear shooter. Last year with the Stylo 4 Plus had a 16 megapixel camera, so it was an upgraded piece of hardware compared to the regular Stylo 4. I expect something similar. Last year's LG Stylo 4 Plus had a 3300 milliamp hour battery and a MediaTek processor on the Boost model, 3 gigs of RAM. So 1 more gig of RAM compared to the regular Stylo 4. So what I would like to see in terms of like wishful thinking from a Stylo 5 Plus, I would like to see a 3700 milliamp hour battery, a little bit larger than what we see in the Stylo 5. I would like to see the continued application of the IP68 waterproof and dust resistance. I think that's a great feature. I really want to see a Snapdragon, a Qualcomm-made Snapdragon 6 series. If you're going to be charging people more, you're calling this a plus, you've got to give them a better processor to separate it from the standard Stylo 5. So maybe a Qualcomm Snapdragon 630 something, you know, some kind of an entry-level 6 series processor. Upgrade from the 450 that we see in the Stylo 5. I'd also like to see an extra gig of RAM, which would give it 4 gigs. It would be a beast of a phone from the performance side. 4 gigs of RAM, Qualcomm Snapdragon 6 series. We're putting it at like Google Pixel 3a territory for performance. Not exactly the same because obviously the RAM is there, but like, you know, a Qualcomm Snapdragon 632 or 635 is not as powerful as the 670. But it'd be pretty close, and the battery life would be excellent. Come in at 3,700 milliamp hours for the battery. And I think a very underreported and underappreciated feature would be Band 71 support on T-Mobile, because that is a very important band. Band 71 is what gets people connected, you know, in very rural areas, very isolated areas around the country, places where coverage is very spotty. This gets them covered. Band 71 support there. I mean, I'd hope that, you know, both LG Stylo 5 and Stylo 5 Plus could have that covered. So that's kind of my predictions. That's kind of my wishful thinking of what I'd like to see. Again, price point, it's probably going to be closer to like 249, 269, heck, 299. If they're going to be putting extra RAM, a higher end processor, you know the price is going to get bumped. So that's kind of where I'm at with the current Stylo situation. Disappointed in the Stylo 5. Very hopeful that the Stylo 5 Plus finds its way to Metro by T-Mobile and other carriers. So that way that people have an option to get a Stylo device, but get something a little bit more upgradable. So, you know, like a true upgrade compared to what we saw last generation. Even if it is a little bit more expensive, but it's noticeably better. Jessica says, I heard that Amazon has Stylo 5 Plus cases. Well, Jessica, that's interesting news, because if the cases are out, then we know the phones are on their way. So that's very telling of kind of where we're at there. Madbird says, Moto is having a good sale going on. When you buy a Moto Z3 Play, you get a 32 gig one for free. That's interesting. That's a more high-end device, though. Kind of out of this. Chase from Lego says, what about battery life? Depends all on the capacity, my friend. What's up, Gary? Glad you could be here, buddy. Madbird says, only 3,700. Go out and get a 18,000 milliamp hour battery. We got to be realistic, though. We like to see an upgraded version. Big John Tech Reviews, glad you could be here, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. So that's kind of where I'm at with the current situation with the LG Stylo 5. A lot of disappointment. I was really expecting more. I was hoping for more, and we didn't really get it. Not much of an upgrade. Unless you're coming out of a Boost Mobile LG Stylo 4, you know, with a MediaTek processor, then you're probably getting a very upgraded phone. But for people upgrading from the Cricket model or the Metro by T-Mobile, I don't think you are. So that's where we're at with the LG Stylo 5. Now, the next thing I want to talk about a little bit is the merger. And I know a lot of people were asking about the merger and kind of where it's at. So as I preface this explanation that I'm going to kind of give you guys this update, for those that are, you know, closely in tune with the Steam Mobile Tech YouTube channel, you're in the know, you kind of know what's happening. Sandmain213 says trying to upgrade from a Stylo 3. That would make sense because you're a couple generations behind. It would make sense to go to an LG Stylo 5. You're getting upgraded RAM, a higher clock processor, better display. That would make sense. You're probably getting into USB-C, so there's definitely reason for that. So if you get a good deal, now's a good time to buy from Boost. They've got a 20% off promo. You could probably get an upgrade discount. Be a good time to buy. Dan Pete says the LG Stylo 5 Plus should have a 7,000 milliamp hour battery. Give the Moto G6 play. Oh, wow. That is big time. The LG Stylo 5 Plus having a 7,000. That's a huge, massive battery. Most production phones don't see batteries in that size. I mean, if the LG Stylo 5 Plus had a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, I would say that's a win. 4,500 would be amazing, and 5,000 would be a dream. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Plus. All right. There we go. All right, so where we're at with the merger right now. I just want to kind of say this to everybody out there. Obviously, you're invested in it. Lewis, hang tight. So the Sprint and T-Mobile merger is currently at a juncture that is a situation where they've done exactly what they needed to do. They've put all the correct pieces in place. They've met with all the correct people. Legally, everything is covered. All is well from like the T-Mobile and the Sprint side. It's gotten to the point with the DOJ, Department of Justice, Makin Del Rahim, the antitrust chief, and it's gotten to the point between the DOJ, the FCC, and Charlie Ergen. Now, some of you may or may not know the name Charlie Ergen. Charlie Ergen is the chairman. He's the head. He is the president of Dish Network. Dish Network has become the most important and pivotal part of the T-Mobile and Sprint merger. The reason is Dish Network is poised to become the new fourth carrier. T-Mobile is essentially merging with Sprint, eliminating a carrier, so that brings us to 3 national carriers. The DOJ is insisting that we have 4. Therefore, they want Dish to be that 4th network, and it makes total sense. Dish has tons of saved and stored spectrum that they have not deployed. They've been collecting it for the last decade plus, about 11 years or so. They've got enough low-band and mid-band spectrum to be a national carrier. They legitimately do. They literally have as much spectrum as Verizon. They're not using it, though. They've been hoarding it. They've been saving it. They have not deployed it. The FCC has given them an ultimatum. You have until March 2020 to deploy a wireless network of some sort utilizing that spectrum. They have yet to show any indication of them doing this. This is an opportunity for them to use that spectrum and meet the demands of the FCC. Also, this opportunity also meets the demands of the DOJ, in which they're creating a 4th carrier. It also facilitates the T-Mobile and Sprint side. All would seem well. But there is a problem. Charlie Ergen is involved. Charlie Ergen is shrewd. He's tough. He's a very difficult negotiator. And all that is perfectly fine. It's business. I get it. But at this point, the DOJ is saying, we're going to make sure you get them, more spectrum. We're going to make sure that you get spectrum out of the new T-Mobile so you can build out your 5G and get your LTE going. We're going to put in these contracts for you to operate on the T-Mobile network until you deploy your own. All these concessions are being put into place, all to create this 4th carrier. Everything's being handed to Dish. Literally everything. The perfect storm. Deploying a network, meeting the deadline, getting an extension from the FCC, using the spectrum that they could potentially lose if they don't. But there's still parts of Charlie Ergen that don't seem to want to get out of the way of this. Charlie Ergen is still weighing options, and he's still making life difficult for the merger. He's always had problems closing deals. He's not really good at that. He's not good at making deals, like closing them out, because he always feels like there's something else he can get out of it. And closing is hard, and he's the 40th wealthiest man in the nation, in the United States. To give you kind of an understanding of where he's at business-wise, big time. So closing out this deal has become a challenge because of the person who's on the Dish side. Now, I will update you guys in terms of what's going to go on, in terms of how is Dish going to be operating on the T-Mobile network. The Department of Justice wants Dish to be a legitimate fourth national carrier. So they're telling Deutsche Telekom, the parent company of T-Mobile, Dish needs to be able to use 100% capacity of your network, which is good for Dish. But Deutsche Telekom is saying we can only afford you 12.5% capacity on our network because it would be taxing our network. So there's this tug of war going on. DOJ is saying Dish needs 100% capacity. T-Mobile is basically saying, can't do it. We can only give you 12.5%. To further complicate things, because there's a lot of distrust in Charlie Ergen, a lot of people fear that Charlie Ergen is going to want to sell and get out of the wireless carrier business really, really quickly, like in the middle of the build of the new network. Which sounds like, no, they wouldn't do that. But why wouldn't they? So many people are in so much doubt about Charlie Ergen closing this deal and following through on it. They're hoping and praying that Dish falls out and somehow Charter comes in. Now, Charter does have more fluid income. They've got more capital investment that they can, just offer up front with capital cost. Got more cash. So there's a lot of people saying, I really hope and I really pray things with Charlie Ergen fall off, Dish falls out of this, and Charter gets involved, because they feel like there's more potential there and a more legitimate fourth carrier can be created without a company that might be looking for a bailout very soon. That's kind of where we're at right now. It's the FCC and the DOJ trying to work together to achieve different things. Like they all want the merger and they all want the fourth carrier, but Charlie Ergen's complicated. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Charlie is absolutely a pain in the ass, as Gary has said. He's difficult. Closing deals are going to be tough with him. I'm not saying that it can't be done, but the FCC is going to be very careful about any pending deal with Charlie Ergen and Dish. He's going to make sure that everything is explicit. He himself is a lawyer. He was a lawyer for Verizon, in case you guys didn't know that about Ajit Pai, the head chairman of the FCC. He's no fool. He's going to really build a plan and agreement that's very, very specific. But the DOJ is trying to give a really, really sweet deal to Dish to make sure that they take this bait. They come in good with this merger and they become a solid and competitive fourth national carrier. And keep in mind, guys, like Dish becoming a fourth national carrier can only help pricing, right? Or Charter, whoever decides that they want to come into the prepaid game or the national postpaid game, it's going to help competition. It's going to help pricing. LT pricing will be competitive. 5G is another thing. I mean, we really don't know what every company is going to do for sure. We know Metro by T-Mobile will be the first prepaid carrier to have 5G. We know T-Mobile is not going to charge for 5G. We know they're going to lock down pricing for 3 years. MVNOs will also receive price locks. They'll be supported through all of this. Pricing for the near future, 3 to 5 years, should be good. Competition should be good. 5G buildouts will be expedited. They'll be forced to compete. Moving forward, things will be okay. I don't think anybody has anything to worry about from that side. Now, we are over a year through this merger, and we're kind of at a place right now where, should things work out with Charlie Ergen and Dish, all systems a go. Should things fall off with Dish, we've got until October. The DOJ's got until October, as well as T-Mobile, to try to find the facilitator for the fourth national network, because DOJ is just not going to let it happen without it. In fact, it's a foregone conclusion that if there is no fourth national carrier to replace Sprint, this merger is going to fail. That's how important a fourth carrier is. If no fourth carrier is created from this merger, there is no merger. So yeah, there's a lot on Dish in here. And there's a lot, hinging on this merger from the Dish side. But Dish is getting great deals. The DOJ is making sure that they're getting Boost. They're making sure Dish is getting Spectrum from the new T-Mobile. They're making sure that they have great revenue sharing and Spectrum hosting deals. All that's there. Dish has every reason to take this deal. They've got a failed satellite business. It's not growing, losing business, losing money. They've got to make a decision on what they're going to do. And this seems to be the best thing for them. But hey, you'd have to ask Charlie Ergen for his thoughts on that. Chase from Lego says T-Mobile has 5G, but Metro doesn't. Have you tried a Metro SIM near a 5G tower for T-Mobile? I guess that would be the only way to check. Sebastian, I don't think carriers are going to be wanting to cap 5G very long, because 5G is not the type of service where you have to worry about data caps. It's really, really fast. Data can add up very quickly. Yeah, Tom, Dish will stay on T-Mobile's network probably up to 7 years. I think 3 to 5 is a little bit on the low side. It takes a while to build out a good comprehensive network nationwide. Dan P asks, so what will honestly happen to Boost Mobile? Will it still be prepaid? Will they get rid of CDMA? I'll answer some of those questions. First of all, it will still be prepaid. Boost is going to be operated as a prepaid carrier, just owned and operated by Dish. In terms of CDMA, that's going to be decommissioned. Everything's going to be LTE. You can just, take the money to the bank for that. So any devices that are heavily relying upon CDMA for connectivity, those will be decommissioned, and you'll have to go an LTE device, or mostly LTE device. Brian's predicting merger by Christmas. Maybe we'll see. Batista says Boost is over. I think it's actually a great time for Boost. Boost is not over. I think Boost, especially the dealers, those that own Boost stores and have been selling Boost, they're going to reap great benefits from this merger. Man, I'm trying to catch up in the live chat here. Brian says, RIP to my S9. What happened to it? Tom's predicting merger by Tuesday. I will say, Tom, that a lot of financial analysts are saying next week the merger could have some finalization. I don't know. It's possible. Just seems like there's a lot going on in terms of negotiations between parent company of T-Mobile, Deutsche Telekom, as well as the DOJ. So Louisville Tech says, what is the specs of the Stylo 5 Plus? We don't have specs. I see rumor out there, but I can't give you confirmation. It would be disingenuous for me to try to make these predictions. But a lot of people are thinking that maybe it gets some upgraded RAM, maybe it gets a better processor compared to the 5 and a larger battery. We'll have to see. M. Kelleher, it's not about them making a decision at this point. They are fighting for the merger. It's not really about a decision. It's about getting all sides to agree, all parties involved. M. Kelleher, let's think about all the moving parts in the merger. You have T-Mobile, T-Mobile's parent company, Deutsche Telekom. You have Sprint. You have Sprint's parent company, SoftBank. You have the DOJ, the Department of Justice, Makin Del Rahim. Then you have the FCC and Ajit Pai. Then you have Dish Network and Charlie Ergen. There are a lot of pieces in play here. So it's not easy to please all parties. T-Mobile and Sprint are easy to please in this. Deutsche Telekom, Dish, the DOJ, and the FCC, Ajit Pai. These are the difficult components right now. They've all got to be in agreement. I think T-Mobile and Sprint are kind of off in the cut, like, all right, we have to wait to see how things shake out. The rest of this has to be worked out. Gary Davis says, it's your opinion that Metro by T-Mobile is a definite winner. I should stick with them. Absolutely. T-Mobile, in general, as a company, offers the greatest chance at growth for networks. They're not charging for 5G. They're building out their network exponentially. Merging with Sprint is going to give them improved capacity, coverage, and 5G speeds and build-outs. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about T-Mobile's future prospects for their network. We're just talking network performance. Their subscriber numbers are going to increase. They're going to continue to grow. They've been adding one or more million customers every quarter for the last 6 years. There's 4 quarters in a year. We've been doing it for 6 years. Mr. 515202 says, you think AT&T and Verizon don't want this merger to go through? They could influence the DOJ's decision. No, because I think what's going to end up happening, AT&T has already benefited in so many different realms. They got the Band 14, the First Responders Network contract. Verizon's probably going to get a huge mid-band bonus opportunity and spectrum out of this. They'll be smart to keep their mouths shut, just because there's going to be ways that they benefit from this merger for sure. Louisville Tech says, hopefully we get a Snapdragon 620 or 635, 4 gigs of RAM, and at least 64 gigs of storage for the Stylo 5 Plus. That phone would probably come in at like $350, $375. I mean, if they were to somehow, some way swing it for $299, it'd be a legendary phone, but I doubt they could keep it that low. I don't know. We'll see. Char Cohen says T-Mobile just lost 100,000 customers 10 seconds ago. I wonder what happened. And Keller says T-Mobile's growth has been insanely amazing. It really has. They add over 1 million customers every quarter. Every quarter. Every quarter for the last 24, 25, 26 quarters. We expect it to continue also. You got to keep in mind, guys, like 3 or 4 years ago, T-Mobile was like Sprint, how it is today. They've added all these tens of millions of customers over the course of the last few years, just in network performance and customer care. That's really how they've done it. Competitively priced, taking care of their customers, good marketing, a good visible CEO, taxes included, Metro, the whole thing has worked for them. Yeah, Tom counts everything. All right, so my goal was to be on here for at least 30 minutes. 35, 40 minutes has kind of gone by. We're in good shape for time. If anybody wants to ask, comment, discuss any topics, I'll give you guys kind of like the last few minutes to get on. And, if you guys want to cover anything, go ahead. And I'm in the live chat with you guys here. Jar Cohen says, a little birdie told me that the deal is done by tomorrow. A lot of people, Jar Cohen would say, I'll believe it when I see it. Jamil, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Much appreciated. And Keller says, people expect an amazing device, but they want it for nothing. People are so stingy. I mean, you can't blame people for wanting more. from their services and devices. I mean, as long as they're paying the cost, right? Chase from Lego says, what about Boost people that have an unlocked device? Most devices that are on Boost are compatible with the new T-Mobile situation. It's, if your phone relies mostly on LTE, you should be good. The only people that are going to struggle with connectivity on the new T-Mobile network are going to be people with very old devices. I'm talking like 5 or 6 years old that are very reliant on CDMA on the Sprint side. So as long as you've got like a few, you know, if you've got an unlocked device that's just, a year or two or even 3 years old, you should be good to go. Batista says LG Stylo or Motorola G7. It's a tough call. The display on the Stylo is 1080p. The display on the Moto, I believe the G7 power is 720p. If that's a make or break deal, go with the higher resolution. I'd say go with the LG. The stylus is a huge perk. The battery on the Moto G7 power is massive. It's like 5,000 milliamp hours. That might be a make or break for you too if you really appreciate, longevity. Like that phone would probably get charged once every 2 days. So, I mean, it's pretty nice. Glock 945 says, since Huawei phones are unbanned, is it safe to buy one again? Just curious. They were always safe to buy. In fact, the best time to buy a Huawei phone was during the ban because you were getting them so cheap. And it's the phones. A lot of people don't realize this. Huawei phones were never the problem. It was the network hardware, the infrastructure used for networks here in the U.S., like the switches and the modems and the routers and the connectivity hardware. It was never the phones that was the issue. It was just a matter of time till all that got cleared out. Chase says, so a Sprint got to be gone. I mean, it's just going to be the new T-Mobile, so there will be no remnants of Sprint post-merger. What's going on, Lena D? Louisville Tech says, is the Moto E5 Plus still a good phone? Legendary when it comes to battery life. I guess it just kind of depends on what your standards are. Like going into buying that device, the Moto E5 Plus offers quite a bit of good. The camera's not that great. It's more entry level than anything. The battery life is awesome, like I said. The display is decent. The software is good. Of course, you could always use an extra gig of RAM, but I mean, for what you're paying for, it's a good phone. Jack Cohen says, I heard the new iPhones are going to be one-time use. Okay, what is this? Saying weird things now. Alan says, go to newtmobile.com to support 5G for all with the FCC. I'm not sure who's pushing that. Jamil says, AT&T 5G is so fast, I like it. Yeah, Jamil, it's advanced LTE. It's not really 5G, but it's fast. It's good. It's really bolstered the network for AT&T. Where are we at here? Chase, there will be no Sprint. It's going to be the new T-Mobile network. That's it. It'll be the new T-Mobile. Batista says the Honor 8X. I think that's a good phone. I was thinking about getting one, or the Samsung Galaxy A50. If I was going to be choosing between an Honor phone and a Galaxy, I would go Galaxy just because I feel like their displays are really, really nice. And since you're always looking at the display, you would probably choose a phone with a better display. 5G is fast here in the CLE 216. It is pretty fast. It's the advanced LTE. It's nice. Tom, I'm frustrated with Verizon. I'm liking my visible service. By far, it's been awesome. Frustrated with my postpaid. Man, I'm working on the Verizon thing, but let me just tell you, it's complicated and it's not good. Jessica, my visible experience has been awesome. I'm constantly getting 15 to 25 megabits per second on the download. I'm doing 1080p without buffering. I mean, I can go faster. My mobile hotspot is like 15 megabits per second. It's not capped at 5. It's been great. I've been live streaming from my Visible SIM card. I don't know if you guys can even tell. I did last Friday's podcast on Visible also. It's been awesome. It's been really good. $40 a month. We're on the world, on the nation's probably most LTE available network. It's been great. Yeah, Alan, Visible's been very good for me too. Malbird, I've been getting the runaround with like level 2 and 3 techs and all this. It's been nonsense. Louisville, Texas, kind of bad old battery cause lag, of course. If the phone's not getting proper power, it won't run right. The hardware won't run right, and then the software is going to be affected. It's a bad combination. You definitely want to make sure that you have proper power getting to your device. So if you've got a weak battery, get it replaced, and then the phone will run as it's supposed to. Rafi, thanks for taking care of business, moderating, and thank you for the kind words. Alan, I haven't seen that 5 megabit per second cap on anything. It's been awesome. I've been seeing 25 megabits per second download, 40 megabits per second on the upload, sometimes 30, 35, 25, and the mobile hotspot has been fast. PP chimes in. If the CPU doesn't see correct power, it will go into a lower clock mode. Yeah, and if your CPU is running lower, your performance is going to be affected. Your gaming experience will be awful. Any type of video rendering will be difficult. It just wouldn't run right at all. And it'll probably shut down prematurely. What type of experience is that? I'm Kelleher. Could you imagine keeping your $25 plan on the new T-Mobile network? It'd be awesome. Glock 9 says, my brother still owns a Moto Z2 Force from Verizon. They're going to be getting a Galaxy S9 Plus. Is it worth it? Would he be missing or gaining from it? The Galaxy S9 Plus would be an upgrade from the Moto Z2 in some ways. The camera would be an upgrade. The battery performance might be similar, but the display is going to be way better. The OLED on the Galaxy S9 Plus is beautiful. The design's a lot better, but it's more delicate too. More likely to break when you drop it and stuff like that. Madbird, I actually have a OnePlus 6T. I don't have the OnePlus 7. I have a OnePlus 6T. Hey, Todd, thanks for being here, man, and thank you for the kind words. Glad you liked the show. All right, so I think that's it. I try to answer as much questions and reply to as many comments as I could. I tried to cover, the important tech news of the day. We talked about the LG Stylo 5. We talked about the potential Stylo 5 Plus up and coming maybe for Metro by Tmobile. We talked a little bit about my Visible wireless service. And we talked about the merger a little bit. We really did get to a lot, and I think I'm going to leave it at that. I want to thank all of my moderators in the live chat. I want to thank Pete for being here, taking care of business. Jamil was here. I don't know if he was moderating tonight, but thank you for the donations and the super chats, Jamil. Thank you, Rafi, for moderating and taking care of business there as well with the wrench. I want to thank all the viewers, all those that watch this on replay. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Check out Sneed Mobile Tech if you haven't seen that. That's my channel. Sneed Mobile Tech, SNEED Mobile Tech. If you like the format of these podcasts, I do one every Friday on my channel, as well as here on the JGTechBlog. Lots and lots of stuff is happening in the wireless world. So stay notified. Make sure you get that notification bell going whenever we upload new videos. You want to make sure that you're up on all the news that's going on with the merger and different devices and stuff. Sneed Mobile Tech and JG will keep you guys tuned in. So stick with us, and we got you guys faded. I think I'll leave it at that. I want to thank you all for watching. Everybody watching and participating live. Everybody that was on replay, thank you guys so much. Hope you had a great holiday week and weekend. And we'll see you guys next week on the JG Tech Blog podcast. I'm Steve from Sneed Mobile Tech. Peace.